Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today we're going to take a look at the Eisenhower Dollars. That's right, we're going to look at every year of the Eisenhower Dollars. We're going to go through them quickly, kind of give you some information on them, and then you can feel free to look at the individual years as we put them up or have them up already on the DC Coin World website. Eisenhower Dollars were made from 1971 until 1978. That sounds like it would be 8 years, but it's not, because they didn't make them in 1975, at least not with a 1975 date on them. In 1975, they made the Bicentennial coins, which came out in 76, those coins which said 1776 to 1976 on them. And you'll see that this one is actually a silver one. They made silver in many of the years, and we'll talk about that. They didn't make silver Eisenhower Dollars in all of the years. And you can tell because they have an S on them, but some of the coins that have an S on them are clad coins. So we'll talk about that difference also. So in 1971, they made them at the Denver Mint. You can tell the little D down here. The Denver Mint in 1971, they made $68.5 million. They made them at the San Francisco Mint that year too. At the San Francisco Mint, those would be the 40% silver ones. In 1971, they made $6.8 million of the silver ones, and they also made $4.2 million of the clad ones. What does the back look like? Well, that's Ike on the front, of course. Says Liberty and God We Trust here, 1971. Way down here underneath, we see an F and a G for Frank Gasparo. And then on the back, this was the revolutionary part of this coin, was to commemorate the Apollo 11 moon landing. They have United States of America. They have 13 stars around the outside for the 13 states. The eagle landing on the moon holding an olive branch with the earth over its shoulder. And another FG here for Frank Gasparo, who did the front and the back of these coins. It might look familiar to you because when this coin was replaced in 1979, it was replaced by the Susan B. Anthony coin, which had the same reverse. And the same Frank Gasparo was the engraver. So that's the 71s. In 72, they also made them. And there's a Denver Mint 72. 72, they made a couple different kinds. They call them high relief, low relief at the Philadelphia Mint. And you should watch our 72 video to talk about the differences in those. And then at the Denver Mint, they made no big varieties, but they made 92.5 million of these. If you can get this in an MS-65, you're talking about somewhere around $27. In Philadelphia, they made 76 million. There are some varieties of the Philadelphia Mint coin, the so-called 1972 high relief, that's worth $100 in this shape and $1,500 in an MS-65. They also, of course, continue to make the S Mint coins, the San Francisco Mint coins. They made them in 71, 72, 73, 74. No coins at all were made in 75 for the Eisenhower Dollars. And then, of course, we came back in 76, and I'll show you that one again. That's a silver one, but you could get it clad or silver in 76. So what about 73? The third year of the coins, they made not that many, and these are hard to get. And they were not general circulation business strikes. So when you see these two, some collectors are going to say, where'd you get the 73s? Well, really the only way you can get them is to get the uncirculated mint set. In 73, they did 2 million uncirculated mint sets. This coin right here is probably worth $12 to $20, but you'd have to get it graded to do that. It would have to be an MS-63. And this coin right here is probably worth even more, because just look at what great shape it's in. This one may be worth $45. In 1973, an MS-65 Denver Mint is worth $27 to $45, and that's from MS-64 to 65. And then a MS-65 Philadelphia Mint coin is worth $65. So plenty of money in these if you get those uncirculated mint sets. Get a good copy and get them graded. Here's the 74, and of course 74, we're in the 70s. They're just going to have horrible mint marks as they go along because they just kept using these dies over and over again, the mint mark punch dies. And so there's a Phil D on this one, and then there's no mint mark on this one. 1974, they made 27 million Phillies, and they made 35.5 million Denvers, and they also made 2.6 million San Franciscos. 1975, there was none, but in 1976 they came back with them, and in fact, 1975 they made these, almost all the bicentennial quarters and halves and dollars were made in 1975, but they had the 1776 to 1976 date on them, and they changed the back. So now we have the moon over the Liberty Bell, and this is a Dennis R. Williams engraving, and we'll pump it up a little bit. You can actually see the words on the Liberty Bell. It's such a great engraving. DRW, so that's for Dennis R. Williams, who engraved the back of these coins. It says United States of America, star, e pluribus unum, in $1 here. In 1976, they made these in about 10 or 12 different ways. Some silver, some clad, and you'll just have to kind of look through them, but we will show you that silver one over again. And obviously the way you can tell is because they have S-clad, which is copper, nickel clad copper, and S silver, you have to tip it up on its side and show that it's all silver through here. Even though these are silver, they're only 40% silver, remember. They're like the Kennedy halves a year. They're not a 90% silver dollar. So that's 76. 77, Philly and Denver. 77 at Philly. They came back and they went right back to the old design of the eagle landing on the moon. They took the Liberty Bell off. That was a one-year, one-shot deal. 77, they made 12.6 million of the Phillies, and they made 33 million of the Denvers, and they made 3.2 million of the San Francisco mints. After 1976, they did not make another silver Eisenhower dollar. So 77 and 78, they're all going to be clad. There's no silver Eisenhower dollars, though there are some with S's on them, but they're clad. And then in 1978, they finished making them. At the Denver Mint, right here, they made 33 million. At the Philly Mint, they made 26 million. And at the San Francisco Mint, they made 3.12 million. And that was 1978, and then in 1979, as we said, they came out with the Susan B's. All right, well, that's all we have today from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We just have a bunch of them here, and so you can collect all of these, except, some very expensive sub-varieties, because there aren't that many of them. There's only about 30 coins total for the Eisenhower dollars, including all grades. As I said, there is one special one that you're not going to get, but other than that, you can collect them all. All right, that's all we have today from DC Coin World. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comments section.